And welcome to the program Talk Sports on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. We saw an amazing with lots of shockers that still the entire sport world is still yet to recover from what we saw in the world of football as PSG trashed Inter Milan 5 goals to 0 on Saturday in the UEFA Champions League finals. That is still very shocking. The best attacking team dismantled the best defensive team in the league. We'll have that conversation. And still this past weekend, we saw the National Sport Festival coming to an end, and Team Delta, the former champions, also the reigning champions of the latter year, defended their championship and also emerged as champion of this year's National Sports Festival that was held in Abeokuta, which was tagged the Gateway Games Ogun State. On the other note, Enugu State also getting set for their own whole city games, and they said they are looking to raise the bar higher than what has been done by Abeokuta Ogun State. And then the international friendlies that is supposed to happen this past weekend and Saturday did not take place, as we saw the Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon arriving late to Nigeria, and the match was postponed till today. CAF frowned negatively to that and said no, it's not going to happen today, and then it has been shifted till tomorrow. We'll have that conversation. Still talking about championship, Super Eagles defended her 2004 Unity Cup championship that was won over 2 decades ago, was defended and retained back by the Super Eagles of Nigeria on Saturday after they played a 2-2 draw with Jamaica, talking about the Reggae Boys, and then advanced into penalty and defeated them 5 goals to 4. All of this happened, and it's so much interesting on how the Super Eagles were able to defend their championship after a very tight and a very close game that was played between these two teams that traded tackles. Still, we'll be having conversations around Ballon d'Or, as we have seen Ousmane Dembele, the winger from PSG, is looking to be the favorites to win this. Then following suit, we have Rafinha, and we also have Yamal, and the trajectory continues like that. Kylian Mbappe is also on the list, and there's some also surprising names that are still on the list, and then we'll see how that will turn out. From England, we have the current EPL champion and then the Golden Boots boy, talking about Mo Salah, who is also on that list. We'll be having a lot of conversations today, and when we return back, I'll be introducing my guest who would help us understand most of the happenings and what he really thought happened, why PSG were able to score 5 goals in the UEFA Champions League finals. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Yes, many thanks for staying with us now. Right into the conversation of the day. Lots of conversations actually, as we'll be starting from the home front, and today we're starting with the ladies first. Super Falcons versus Cameroon friendly also postponed. The international friendly between Nigerian Super Falcons and Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon will now hold on Tuesday. The encounter has suffered 2 postponements due to the late arrival of the Cameroonian contingents. The Super Falcons and their Cameroon counterparts were initially scheduled to meet in a double-header friendly. The first friendly was slated for Rainbow Star Stadium in Kenya on Friday. It was later gathered that both teams could clash in a single friendly at the Moshood Abiola Sports Arena at Abeokuta on Monday. The game has now been shifted to Tuesday after Confederation of African Federation failed to approve Monday for the feature. So I think the CAF drew their leg backwards. And then joining me to have these conversations, all of these conversations today, is a very good friend of mine and a brother, Olarewaju Jesse. Thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of the program.
It's my pleasure to be here talking sports this morning.
Okay, I know you're a champ, and also I'll leave you to appear whichever way you want to appear. All right, let's get ready to it. Let's start from the home front. As always, the ladies are supposed to trade tackles, on Friday, and also the second friendly match was supposed to happen today, but arrival late by the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, who are just 45 minutes away from Nigeria. That's coming by road from Maiduguri, Borno State to Cameroon is less than 45 minutes. I don't know why they took so much time. But looking at those angles now, why do you think, all of this happened? Do you think preparation was a problem for the Cameroonians?
Yes, proper preparation. It has been always been our challenge in Africa, in tournaments, in games like this. They know they have this game coming up this particular time. There should be like a day, they should be in town like 3 days before the game or a week. That's why you see proper preparation. So as I said, they are not too far from Nigeria, and they came very late. So that is the African thing. You understand? But we need to take this thing out of our football. We need to take that out of, because the players have been in the camp, they have been preparing for this game. You understand? So everything, football is the schedule game. Time and everything matters, you understand? So now the game is supposed to be played today. Now they rescheduled it to tomorrow. Well, at the end of it, I still trust our ladies. At the end of it, we still win, because we just need to win.
We just need to win. Friendlies or no friendlies. Let's talk about CAF now and their delay from approving today to be the set date for the matchup. Now, do you think now they're supposed to have 2 legs of friendlies? Now, do you think now with all of this postponement, and like you rightly mentioned, football is always scheduled. So looking at the schedule now, maybe I think in South the Cameroonians also have another friendly to play with one of the African countries. So looking at this now, do you think the 2-legged friendly would happen? All of this is in preparation of African women, AFCON for the women, for the ladies, and also preparation for World Cup. So do you think this second leg is going to happen, or they might just play tomorrow and then call it quits?
No, I think
based on schedule.
Based on schedule, it will still happen. That's why they had to postpone it to tomorrow, because they also from their end, they need to prepare. They need to prepare their staffs. They need to prepare the team and everything. That's why I see proper preparation. So CAF too needed time to prepare for their own team also. So and everything. So that boils down to preparation. But I feel there's still time for them to still play both games. It can still be played. At least 2 days interval, you can just play, since they are in town and they are playing it in the same town, in the same city. It's not they are traveling away from the city. It's that city they are playing it. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully, we pray they win, regardless of all these things coming up, because there are like a few bit setbacks for the team, setback for everyone. So I don't like this setback for these games in our games like this for our female Super Falcons, because they have been preparing and they need time to rest also, because they just finished their club games. So after this, they need time to still relax. So everything is scheduled. Well, hopefully they overcome this and.
Well, let's see what happens. Now, hopefully they overcome this and then receive very good actions and results from the competition. Well, moving away from that, let's talk NPFL, as Ezoka takes blame for Rangers' poor campaign in the 2024-2025 Nigerian Professional Football League season. Let's go on a quick break, and then when we return back, we'll have all of this conversation. Please do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now let's get into this other conversation of the poor performance that we saw from the former champions of the MPFL, talking about Enugu Rangers. Someone has to take the blame, and the Rangers general manager Amobi Ezeaku has this to say, and he is taking the blame. He says, I shouldered all the blame for the team's performance in the 2024-2025 MPFL football season. The Flying Antelopes ended their MPFL season in 10th position with 52 points from 38 matches. Rangers were also eliminated from the 2025 President Federation Cup in the semi-final stage. So throughout this season, they didn't play like champions or defending champions. And looking at all of these angles now, they won some reasonable amount of money in the 2023-2024 season and did not make purchases of new players. They didn't get fresh legs, but they traded a couple of their players out to Remo Stars and other to Rivers United as well, and also Eimba of Aba. All of this contributed to the fact that they didn't do so well, because you had a very good star, you have a very good team, and then you let go of some your key players, and again, decision making boils down to all of this. Now, the general manager, Jesse, coming out to say all of this and saying he is shouldering all of the blame. Do you think, letting go of some players that helped you win the championship was one of the reasons why they suffered in all competitions that they played this season?
Definitely.
Yes.
Because in a team, in every setup, you need squad depth to play football. You understand? After winning the league, they had to sell some players. You sell players, not buy in a player. You understand? And you can't balance the team, because first those players you sell, it has dropped the morale of the team, because some of the players are like the favorites in the team, and some of them, they have what they bring to the team. So letting those good players, you took away some people, some particular people away from the team. So you had to replace them and it still boils down to management, team management, because this season I feel the team management too were very poor in showing up for their games, players preparation, and also taking care of the welfare of the players. Very important. So all these things to also affect the game, affect the tempo, because for you to be a champion, it's not easy, although to be a champion and to defend it is a very difficult thing to do in Nigerian sports. Although it happens in some countries, but it's a very difficult thing to happen. It's one of those days you see it, but still they still need to do better. Where they finish very poor, finish 10th in the season from you winning. No, that is a very bad one for them. Well, the general manager coming out now to shoulder the blame is a good thing, because he knows they are supposed to invest in this team, but they did not invest in the team. So they need to invest in this team to move forward, but they were not investing. So that's why it is like this now. So the team knows. I hopefully next season they are going to invest, because if you let go players, you need to replace them, or you still need squad depth. After winning, you still need fresh legs to keep that mentality, that winning mentality. Like also buying the best of the best players also in the league. Same way as some of the players left for Remo Stars, Rivers United. You can also buy from those teams too. That's that's the champion team. Yes, that's how you win. You win more trophies and win more accolades. Well.
Let's see what happens now, because the general manager, he says they are going to make a lot of arrangements and correct those errors that were made before the season began, and see how they will be able to shoulder, not take blames, and then have a different and a positive result come 2025-2026 season. So we'll see how all of that pans out. Still in the NNL, the Rice Boys, talking about Abakaliki FC, got defeated 1-0 to Godswill Akpabio FC. This happened yesterday at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. Abakaliki FC has described their Nigerian National League match a 20 defeat to Godswill Akpabio FC, a painful loss. The Rice Boys suffered a 1-0 defeat to Godswill Akpabio FC at the Uyo Township Stadium. Abakaliki FC occupied bottom spot of the NNL Group B table with 17 points from 18 matches. The Ebonyi-based club remain optimistic of escaping relegation with 2 matches remaining to play this season. Abakaliki FC will trade tackles with Abubakar Bukola Sarakis FC in their next game. This is very welcome that we're seeing, top government officials and top citizens, have their own teams in the, NNL League, and which is very, very good for grassroots football and development in the long run. So this is very welcoming, and we are hoping to see how well all of this will translate, and these particular features and figures that we are saying will get into the Nigerian Professional Football League. That is when they get to graduate and win trophy from this junior lowest league in Nigeria. So we'll see how all of that will pan out. We will be leaving you shortly with the highlights between the Super Eagles and Jamaica, as I'll bring you up this story, and then we'll have a quick highlight of what transpired just over the weekend. Moses Simon has reacted to Super Eagles' victory over the Reggae Boys of Jamaica in the final of the Unity Cup. The winger played a key role as Super Eagles defeated the North Americans 5-4 on penalties in a thrilling encounter. The two teams battled to a 2-2 draw after 90 minutes. Simon opened the scoring for Eric Chile's side and also converted in the shootout. Reacting after the game, the winger claimed that Jamaicans made things difficult for the side, but the Super Eagles will face Russia in a friendly at the Louis King Stadium in Moscow later this weekend. So looking at all of this now, we'll watch the highlights of how the game played, and also would have conversations around that. You enjoy this highlight.